Hey folks, welcome to the May 16th update. Apologies, this is a couple days late. We've just been cranking out a lot of different things that we're very excited to share. So there's four main updates: Solana wallets, the Warpcast to Farcaster rebrand, a new feature that we're calling account verifications, and four, an update on the incident with Snapchain that happened yesterday. So Solana wallets, these are coming very soon. We mentioned in the last update that we're starting to work on them. We've made a lot of progress. We're going to make sure that Solana works really well in the Worklet and in mini apps. And there's a lot of great builders in the ecosystem that want to be building for Farcaster users. And this will make it very easy for them to do that and to reach users. So expect that to come sometime in the next week. On the Warpcast to Farcaster rebrand, we've got everything ready. We're waiting on the final Apple App Store release. Depending on how quickly that comes through, we'll have something here. We expect the transition to be pretty seamless. The only thing you'll have to do is you might have to re-log into your wallet on web by approving it on mobile. But other than that, we should just be able to very quickly get back into the app, and we don't expect any disruption here. We've been exploring the idea, along with the rebrand, of doing some kind of Farcaster Pro account where you can be a supporter of the network. Still figuring out the permutation of this and whether we're going to ship this, but expect another update from us in next week's call to talk through this. Third update is account verifications. So one of the new features that we've been working on is giving people a way to reach a new verification status for their account by connecting some socials, Twitter, GitHub, and your phone number, and also holding a certain balance. Both of these things in aggregate are hard to spoof, having some number of social accounts that are over a year old and having some balance that's over a certain amount, which is hard to just generate a lot of fake accounts with. And this is meant to be a simple bar where we can say, hey, these accounts have passed a certain, sort of Sybil proof. They're not completely resistant, but they've at least passed a certain check. And we are now more likely to show them in replies, more likely to make them eligible for rewards, airdrops, and other things. So it's an easy way where legitimate users can prove that they're actually, a hard to Sybil account and make them eligible for a lot of things in the ecosystem. And a thing that we're doing along with this is improving the spam label and changing how that works. So the spam label is used in more egregious situations. And if you have a strong account verification, the spam system is more likely to take that into consideration and less likely to rank you as a spammer. So we expect the accuracy of a lot of our spam labels to go up significantly, which we'll also announce next week. Last update is the Snapchain incident. I want to spend a little bit more time digging into this in some detail. So the main challenge with Snapchain and what happened yesterday is we first had an incident where nodes were unable to publish messages that made it into blocks. The reason this happened was we had an infrastructure configuration that turned off access to the ports where those messages were being broadcast. So if you were using Warpcast, those messages were making it through because they were going over our API. But when the blocks were being built, messages sent from other nodes were just hitting the ports and then getting rejected. And so they weren't making it in. It took a couple of hours for us to find out the root cause of this issue. And we fixed the configuration and then messages started coming in. There was a second issue that affected read nodes. And this issue had to do with a change we made for auth addresses, where we were verifying certain properties of the new keys that we're adding for auth addresses. And there was a bug in how that verification happened in one of the newer releases. So what ended up happening was that nodes that upgraded to the newer version were processing a different state, and nodes that did not upgrade were processing a different state. And then they got stuck because they would see a new block come in and they would look at it and go, hey, this actually is invalid. And so they just sort of get stuck on these blocks. We published a fix for this, and we have pushed it out to all the older nodes and pushing it out to newer nodes. Some of the nodes that got stuck in the state will need to do a snapshot resync in order to catch up, because the old logic has sort of already been processed and saved in their state. So hopefully this should be resolved by end of day today. More broadly, what we're doing to solve this issue in the future is we're having better controls around alerting for when ports aren't available or other nodes aren't able to reach us, so we can respond a lot faster. Thinking about adding better tests to prevent issues like the key verification from just getting out in production in the first place. And then finally, we've been working on this for a while, but we're going to ship this soon, is a better protocol release process so we can upgrade all the nodes in tandem. So we're not making changes that could lead to these kind of issues. And these sort of 3 steps in aggregate will help us prevent these kind of issues and make sure Snapchain is reliable for everyone using it. So apologies again for the disruption. The team is working really hard to make sure this does not happen again. And we should have a longer update and write-up for those of you who are interested in understanding what happened and want a deeper understanding of this. Cool. Thank you all for listening, and see you next week.